Hey everyone, welcome to another review, and here's the review for the movie San Andreas. No, not Grand Theft Auto San Andreas, the movie San Andreas, starring Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson, Carla Gugino, Alexandra Daddario, Ioan, Gruffudd, and Paul Giamatti. And the movie directed by Peyton. And this movie is basically about a disaster, basically about a bunch of earthquakes happening, and yeah, this is a disaster movie. So movies like Dante's Peak and frickin' Day After Tomorrow, this is basically it. It's a disaster movie. A bunch of earthquakes and floods happen, and a bunch of people have to survive it. That is the gist of this movie. Yeah, and if you like that kind of shtick, you'll love this movie. But if you're like me and you find disaster movies just annoying and all the same kind of shit, you're not gonna like this movie all that much. I'm sorry, San Andreas is kind of a dull, kind of movie. I know, is not a good answer, but that's what this movie is. This movie does have positives, by the way. There is some positives about this movie. Like, for one thing, the special effects look decent. The CG looks great. Like, the effects with the earthquakes and the floods and all the cars smashing and some of the explosions, they look really good and they're actually a lot of fun to watch. Another thing, some of the performances are okay. Like, Paul Giamatti, he's great. Paul Giamatti's great in almost everything he does, and he's very good. Some of the lines he says are very cheesy, but they're pretty funny. Like, when he says, like, lines like, "It's coming." Like, it just works for the movie. And Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is very good. He's very likable, very charming. I enjoyed him a lot in this movie. And honestly, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson himself is just an awesome guy. He's really cool, and he's just a fun, likable dude. And yeah, by the way, I'll put aside this review for a second. If any of you have watched the Screen Junkies wedding thing, that was fucking awesome. Yes, if you don't know what Screen Junkies is and everything, well, basically they do all, like, movie fights, honest trailers and stuff, the Screen Junkies show, and basically last week, or 2 weeks ago, that guy Nick Mundy on the Screen Junkies show got married, and he actually got Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson to actually ordain them. He actually married him. Isn't that fucking awesome? Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson married one of his fans. That was fucking awesome. It shows you how awesome Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson is, and he just seems like a very fun, likable guy. And yeah, I left the link below. Watch that below. Nick Mundy's wedding, Screen Junkies. Check that out. It's awesome. You get to see an awesome wedding, awesome people, and you get to see Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson do something so nice for one of his fans. And yeah, it was fun. It was a lot of fun to watch, and yeah, check that out. Anyways, back to the review. Like I said, this movie has some positives, like the effects look great, all the disaster parts look awesome, you know, like people like flying around and freaking earthquakes, all that shit. And like I said, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Paul Giamatti are all great. That's about it, though. There's nothing really great about this movie other than that. The writing in this movie is very bad. These characters are so one-note characters. But all of these characters are meant to do in this movie is survive. That's it. They try to put like a little romance kind of thing with Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson and Carla Gugino because they have like a history and stuff. I didn't buy their chemistry. Carla Gugino, she's an okay actress, but she wasn't great in it. She wasn't that good in this movie. And Alexandra Daddario, she was in True Detective and Percy Jackson. I didn't like her in either one of them. She's not a great actress. She was terrible in this movie. So, oh my god, her facial expressions are like the most stupid, most over-the-top facial expressions I've ever seen. Like, and no way! And like, okay, come on. Overacting, woman. Overacting. Ioan Gruffudd was also in this movie, and yeah, Ioan Gruffudd was in this movie. He was just there, and yeah, the direction also in this movie wasn't particularly strong. And the execution was, I guess, fine for a disaster movie, but there was no tension in this movie. I never felt the tension in this movie, and I never felt like scared for these characters, and that's all. It's bad direction, bad score, and bad writing, and like that's why I don't care for these disaster movies, because all the disaster movies are the same. They have like stock characters, one note, bad characters with bad dialogue. Basically, they rely heavily on its effects, on the disaster part of that. Like movies like Volcano, Dante's Peak, Armageddon, all the same shit. The only good disaster movies, if you count them as disaster movies, are Titanic and Gravity, because they actually have good characters and good performances in those movies, and you actually give a shit of what's happening to the characters. In this movie, you don't give a rat's ass of what happens to any of these people. They're gonna survive? Who cares? If they're gonna die? Who cares? I just want to leave this movie already. Yeah, this movie it's like 2 hours long, and it shouldn't have been. It should have been like an hour and a half. Show the goddamn earthquake and end the damn movie. That's what the movie Into the Storm did. Last year's Into the Storm, was it last year? But yeah, that movie was so terrible. It was so freaking bad. But it was only like 80 minutes long. It was an hour and 20 minutes, and soon it was over. I'm like, oh, it's over already? Nice, out of here. And that's why I kind of wanted San Andreas to be. It wasn't bad. Like, again, the effects look great, and Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson was charming and likable. I liked that. Like, I was either pissed or annoyed. I'm bored at times. I get bored of this kind of thing. I don't find disaster movies all that interesting. Like, I don't like The Day After Tomorrow or Dante's Peak or Volcano or any of that shit. Like I said, Titanic and Gravity are like the only disaster movies actually I like, if you count them as disaster movies. But yeah, the disaster movies are just not my thing, and this movie was just no better. I guess it's better than some of these disaster movies. Like, it's better than The Day After Tomorrow and all that shit, but it's still not that great. It's not that interesting. It's not even a lot of fun to watch. So if you're a fan of disaster movies, you like seeing characters go through all this shit, you like, I love seeing earthquakes and people trying to survive these disasters, you'll have a lot of fun through it. You will enjoy this movie. You like disaster movies, go see this movie. You'll like it just fine. If you're like me, you don't like disaster movies, then skip this movie. This will not make you a disaster movie fan. So yeah, skip it if you're not a fan of that kind of thing. Yeah, skip it, go see something else. Go see Mad Max or something. Go see something else. It's not that interesting. So yeah, scale 1 to 10, I'll give this movie a 5 out of 10. So yeah, I didn't hate it, but I didn't like it. You know, disaster movie fans, check it out. Not a fan of disaster movies, skip this crap. So in the comment section below, please tell me, what is your favorite disaster movie? Comment below, give me your favorite disaster movie. Comment below, let me know. My favorite, if I had to choose, Gravity. Gravity's my favorite disaster movie. So yeah, comment below, favorite disaster movie. Comment below, let me know. And as always, if you like this video, please like and subscribe to this channel, and join the dark side.